Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. With the change of the environment, you have to adapt and use different techniques in order to survive or to succeed. I think we are witnessing our contemporary with, I would say, tectonic changes in our history, or this globe's history, this world's history. I think we are very fortunate to witness a new environment. And if entities, countries, people, leaders do not change the mentality or the techniques, the skills, they don't adapt to the new environment, they will lose. They will not win. Why did I make this little introduction? Because I usually make it that way. I have here a few articles to show you how the so-called West is losing the train. A new environment is created, a different flavor. The old techniques, the old methods that the West applied and succeeded and thrived in, they're a little bit with a different flavor, different nuance nowadays. With the rise of China, Russia, India as powers able to counter the so-called West. Instead of adapting and joining, the West continues to go its own way, which is, we tell you what to do, we are better than everyone else, you must do what we tell you, otherwise... Right. All that attitude does not work in the new environment. It's changed with the formation of the second club, GGI. That's the new club. I made a video before this one. Go and watch it. And the leader of the new club is China, agreed upon by Russia and India. So let me show you how people, nations, leaders, interests are stuck in the old ways, but they are impotent. You know, impotent, that means you can't do something. You don't have potency. Impotent to change it because the other guys are too strong. Therefore, they have to change the method, the tactic. They can't just go and do it. They have to be smarter than that. They have to adapt. Join maybe, and then in the middle of the night, do it. But straight on, as before, doesn't really work at this point. Unless they want to go into a direct confrontation, and then we all are gone. Here is the first article to show you how the West loses its way, is been losing its way for the past, 60 years or so. United States of America is pushing the European Union states to sanction India. So first, you have a vassalage relationship here. The boss and the vassal. And how come this states, it's not one state, states, to sanction India. To do what exactly? To have another country change its political direction, foreign policy and domestic policy according to what these guys want. So they want to impose through pain, through hurting, not through cooperation. Why? Because they want to be in charge. That is gone. They are still there. But they will not succeed because the other club changed the flavor of the environment. Next one. Russia Today. 1.4 billion Indians are, and I'm quoting, eagerly waiting for Putin's visit. Modi says, the Prime Minister of India. The Indian and Russian leaders have held talks on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Tianjin. The people of India, the most populous country in the world, are eagerly waiting for Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to India later this year. Prime Minister Modi has said, this year in December, for our 23rd summit, 1.4 billion Indians are eagerly waiting for you, Modi said. Shoulder to shoulder, Modi and Russia and India, Modi said Russia and India have walked shoulder to shoulder in the most difficult situations. Our close cooperation is important not only for the people of both countries but also for global peace, stability, and prosperity. Calling Modi his dear friend, Putin said December 21st marks 15 years since the adoption of the joint statement, which marked the transition of our relations to the level of a special privileged strategic partner. These guys have been working for 15 years, and these guys want to sanction them. Now, why would India take a subordinate position to these guys? These guys are yesterday's news. They're still gonna put a fight. Remember, they are together, and together with China, that's it. The rules are changed. And I'm gonna show you what's United States of America's future. United States of America would become, and I'm quoting, third world nation, not country, nation, without tariffs. Now, if we are in this situation where only by imposing tariffs on other countries could survive and remain a first world nation, that we are in bad doo-doo. And I'm going to show you the exact word, the words Trump used. Why? Because it's a court, a liberal court, that blocked some of the sanctions. Call them, I don't know, illegal somehow. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. But hey, let's go and see. The president's trade policy is in jeopardy after an appeals court declared most of the tariffs unlawful. The US president has warned that America could become a third world nation if his tariffs are scrapped. Now let me show you here. And please listen to right here, the last sentence. More than $15 trillion will be invested in the United States of America. A record. Much of this investment is because of tariffs, he wrote on Truth Social on Monday. And I'm quoting, if a radical left court is allowed to terminate these tariffs, almost all of these investments, so that means without the tariffs, the investments, all of them, and much more will be immediately cancelled. In many ways, we would become a third world nation with no hope of greatness again. So without the tariffs, there's going to be no investment from outside. Therefore, we're going to be a third world country. Nation, not country, nation. So without the tariffs, that means people will not invest. How about we? We create things. How about we invest in other places and bring back the capital? And how about we give our own people, let's put it this way, jobs, an opportunity to work? Where's the creativity? Where's the hard work? Where's the work habit? Where are these? The values? Where are they? You have to change the mentality. You wait for other people to invest in your country. Do you mean invest with their money? Where did they make the money from? How did they make the money? So you wait for the others. I remember, and that's not a good sign. I will tell you this. When I was in Romania, after the 1989 revolution, the communists lost and democracy won and capitalism. We had some traitors, that's how I call them, in Romania. Why traitors? Working for outside interests by promoting this idea. Romanians, you are shit. You are losers. Everything you got is just a rusty industry. That's what Peter Roman said, the prime minister. Therefore, we have to wait for the investments from outside to help us live. And some people said, no. If we accept the investments, they will be in charge of our economy and industry. And then we don't sell our country. Well, they sold it. If tomorrow this interests take their money out, like in Russia, Romania is dead. Besides the fact that if the European Union stops the flow of the money from the bankers to the Romanians, they're dead. They produce, I'm about to say nothing, but anyway, they cannot survive. So therefore, you have this country. This is neocolonialism. If you don't do what I tell you, I put sanctions on you. The companies that invested, brought capital inside of your country, cannot function. Then what are you going to do? You have nothing. You depend on those investments. So this is Trump saying, without those investments and our tariffs, because we impose tariffs, people cannot function over there. They have to come and build stuff in our country that more invest right here. We're going to be a-okay. With whose capital? Why don't we have capital? All right. We're not going to go to the NAFTA and with the Bill Clinton, who I can call a, you know what I mean. So, my friends, let me show you what the court said. The court ruling covers two sets of tariffs: broad reciprocal tariffs on most U.S. trade partners and tariffs on goods from Canada, China, and Mexico linked to drug trafficking claims. The decision does not affect targeted tariffs such as those of foreign steel, aluminum, and autos, as they were enacted under separate laws. So, third world country if there's no more tariffs. You got that? Because we need people to invest in our country. We can't invest. Why? We're broke. It's okay. The Arabs will do it. How? Why? I'm not going to go to that one in this video. And let me show you Mr. Erdogan, who really wants to meet Putin in Turkey. All right. Here. Turkey's mediation on Ukraine remains in demand, Putin. So if you remember, I'm going to show you this video because it's very interesting how they shake hands always. It tells a lot. This guy shanked this guy, stabbed him in the back a few times, and this guy still talks to him. He's not saying we're going to screw you, we're going to do this. No, he's still negotiating, he's still talking to him. Different attitude than this one, don't you think? Don't you think? India did not hurt these guys directly. They say they are hurt because these guys do not cooperate with these guys' demands in Ukraine and buying Russian oil. But these guys, India, did not attack these guys whatsoever. Here, on the other hand, Erdogan stabbed Putin on at least two occasions, and I'm going to give them to you. First one, when they downed that Sukhoi 24, I think it was, in northern Syria. Remember? That supposedly that bomber, even if it happened, crossed into Turkey's airspace for about 20 seconds all along the border, not inside. And it was shot down, remember, by the F-16s, sent by whom? By Turkey with the approval of the United States of America. That's how it works. That was bad. Putin was upset about it. Remember, Erdogan could have been dead right now. Some people say without the Russians helping him with the 2016 coup in Turkey. Remember that one? All right, so that's one. The other one is, remember when Turkey agreed to host the Azov battalion, some of the leaders of extremists, however you want to call them, these guys call them Nazis, whatever they are, in Turkey, remember? And he said, Erdogan, that he is okay to have these guys in Turkey, 5 of them or something. And after, I think, a year, Erdogan released them back to Ukraine. That was another stab in the back. If it's true that that was just not communicated to the Russians. So here you have the little meeting. Let me show you. Here, you see how Erdogan's hand goes? This is a person who shows submission. A person who is open, but also is underneath. Give me something. This is body language, it's not me. And I would like you to look at Putin's hand coming from up, down, covering. I mean, you may say whatever you want, but these are right there. Poof. Did you see that? Poof. Boom. Boom. He extends the hand first. Erdogan, not Putin. Alright? So we know who's who, what's what. Or at least this guy plays like that in public. And not in public, he plays differently. Right there. The Russian leader has thanked President Erdogan for hosting direct talks between Moscow and Kiev. That's good. That's good. Turkey's mediation in Ukraine conflict continues to be valued, Putin said. Good. Next one. According to the Ukrainians, New Voice of Ukraine, who are very upset about that because they work in the same vassalage imposed by these guys and their interests that are owning the United States of America, Erdogan calls Putin my friend during China talks, invites him to Turkey. So these guys operate in a witch hunt method, which is, I am perfect, I am more virtuous than you are, because I say so, I identify as, and I designate you as a piece of garbage, because I say so. That's all based on that. Therefore, I have the power, or at least I say I have the power, to hurt you. And everybody else has to do it, has to agree, otherwise I'm going to designate you as the bad person, you, and I'm going to destroy you. Got it, my friends? That's why I know this one turns red, and I hate this. I can't do anything about it. Anyway, so here is, my friends, two methods. The Europeans, the West, lost its way. It thinks that its own way of threats, blackmail, regime change, and bombardments and punching in the face still works. Can't, because the other guys are stronger. You see how the other guys are cooperating? Did you see how they cooperate? As equals, you might say. India, China, Russia, the other guys are based on vassalage. So which club, which side do you want to join? The American or the other guys? I think they should cooperate, but the other guys have to drop their pretense of being the virtuous ones, and everybody else that they don't like, not they, it's only the entities in charge of the United States of America who dictate everybody else. You haven't heard, let's say, Romania dictating to anybody else. Why? Being dictated, yes. You're weak. Anyway, here is, my friends. These guys are losing the train, are missing the train, these guys, and they will isolate themselves in their own little bubble, which is a negative bubble. It's a feudal bubble where you have I can't remember how it's called, a guy who's in charge of a vassal is the one, but the other one is the guy, suzerain. Suzerain, I think is the one. Suzerain is the guy in charge of the, not sovereign. Suzerain, I think it is. The other one is a vassal. Anyway, so they function like, I'm the boss, you are my servant. Who wants to be in this kind of situation? Only a weak entity that agrees that under the protection of a strong guy, they will somehow be able to hit someone else in the teeth instead of cooperating. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Remember, without the tariffs, we're going to be a third world nation. See you later, guys.